It's okay. Yeah. And,
I
yeah.
know, well, it's ridiculous.
Copy the press. Now, do you have Christmas melons? Email it.
No.
You should. I'll send it to you. Good evening and welcome. Oh. Good evening and welcome to Woodstock City Council. It is Thursday, June the 20th, 2019. We have a very quick agenda tonight, but a very important agenda as we have some presentations and delegations. So we'll get right down to work. Any disclosure of conflict of interest? Seeing none. Disclosure of new business. Matters arising from the minutes. The minutes of our regular meeting held June 6th. Councillor Talbot.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Schadenberg that the minutes of the regular meeting of Woodstock City Council held on June the 6th, 2019 be adopted.
Thank you. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. And our next item on the agenda is presentations. And many people here in the Friendly City had a wonderful time on the Victoria Day Parade. So tonight we have some hardware to hand out to some of those community participants. So I'll move down to the floor and we'll announce some of the winners. And this has been a very top secret session here. So. Our annual Victoria Day Parade winners for our parade held May 21st, 2019. Our first category is Business and Commerce, and the first place overall is Woodstock Tire Service. Please come forward. Welcome.
No problem.
And what we should do, let's balance it a little more. I'll come in the middle.
Middle, yeah.
Here, you want to go here? Who's going to hold that? Very good. Thank you. Keep up the good work. The next category is the Service Club category. And the first place goes to the Mocha Jeepsters. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Here we are.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next category is recreation, and I know it was a really tough decision. The Roller Derby Misfits. And I was already told no roller skates tonight because of the rain. Our next category is community service, and the first place goes to the 13th Woodstock Scouts. Where's our scouters tonight? Uh-oh, no scouters here tonight. Okay, our next category is for the school category, and our first place goes to Woodstock Christian School. Welcome.
mic again.
Our final category, the grand champion winners, and it's unfortunate they're not here with us tonight, 13th Woodstock Scouts. So we'll make sure that we talk to the troops, and we're sure that they'll be in the parade again another day. So thank you, everyone. We'll get back to work. All right, our first delegation tonight is regarding the 2019 Terry Fox Run. And we have Mr. Versavel with us. Welcome.
Thank you. To your honor and fellow councilors, the second Sunday after Labor Day has become a day when people across Canada and in 33 other countries come together to honor a Canadian icon and to raise hope for anyone touched by cancer, now or in the future. On Sunday, September 15th, 2019, the 39th annual Terry Fox Run will be held at College Avenue Secondary School. Every dollar raised by the run goes directly to the Terry Fox Foundation, which has raised over $750 million over its history. A figure that shows how dear Canadians hold Terry and his quest. Last year alone, the foundation directed $23 million to research investments. In Woodstock alone, $425,000 has been raised, something I believe Woodstock and its citizens should be proud of. The Lions Club of Woodstock has a proud history of association with our local run. And on behalf of the club and the numerous Terry Fox Run volunteers, I'm here to ask for council support, free of charge, in meeting some of our logistical needs. Hope is essential in all our lives, and Terry drove himself to foster hope in us all. Every September, we look to keep that hope alive, for as Terry said, quote, even if I don't finish, we need others to continue. It's got to keep going, end quote. We have coordinated with both the city parks and works departments, as well as the police auxiliary, and a special event permit has been issued. As mentioned, the city of Woodstock and its citizens have strongly supported the run for years. Speaking for every Fox volunteer, the Lions Club, and the run, I thank you for that support. And now I ask council for that support once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions of council? Councillor Schattenberg. Oh, don't go away yet.
Yeah, through to Mayor Trevor Birch to John Versalvo. Maybe more just of a comment than really a question, John, because I know the Lions Club has done a lot of terrific work to it, but just maybe a reminder to people who might be watching this, another local connection to the Terry Fox Run in Woodstock, and that being Ron Calhoun from Tempsford, who was really instrumental in making the whole thing sort of happen back around late 1979 into 1980 when the Marathon of Hope originally took place with Terry Fox. He was Canadian Cancer Society's special events manager for Coast to Coast, and he was from Tempsford. The reason I want to mention it now, Elaine Kugler, who now lives in Woodstock, has written a book about him called The Man Behind the Marathon, and the book's now available at Merrifields already, and they have a couple of book signings and stuff coming up, so there's going to be maybe an additional impact on the Terry Fox Run this year with a connection to that, and Ron Calhoun being a local person from the Tempsford area was significant in getting that run going and keeping it going, and thanks to John and before that Bill Gillespie and others who kept the Terry Fox Run running for so many years.
Thank you.
If I may add to that a little bit, now you brought up Ron Calhoun will be the guest for this year's Terry Fox Run. So Ron will be taking part in the opening ceremonies for the run on September 15th.
Very good. Further questions of council? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'd ask for consideration of delegations. A motion. Councillor Tate.
I move that the request received from the Lions Club of Woodstock regarding in-kind support from various city departments for the Terry Fox Run on September 15th, 2019 be approved.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Accioni. Discussion. Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. And our next item on the agenda is consideration of planning reports. And we have an application for minor variance on 641 Devonshire Ave. Councillor Accioni.
Moved by myself, the Woodstock City Council advised the Land Division Committee that it supports the proposal to sever the subject property subject to the following conditions. Owner provides confirmation of the location of any existing overhead or underground services installed to the retained and severed lot. Services cannot traverse the adjoining lots, and any conflicts must be redirected or an easement created. Any proposed easement shall be reviewed by the City of Woodstock. Actually, could I say recommendations 1 through 10? Or does it need to be read out? Is that okay? Okay.
Thank you. And a
Thank you.
seconder, Councillor Fraser. Ms. Haschler, welcome.
Thank you. So the first application is for a consented minor variance. It's B19-29-8 and A19-05-8. And it was submitted by a number company, 126669 Ontario Incorporated, care of Ray Losi. The application applies to the lands located at 641 Devonshire Avenue, and the applicant is proposing to create a residential building lot for a single detached dwelling. The current property has a single detached dwelling as well as a detached garage on it, and the applicant proposes to remove both of those buildings and construct 2 single detached dwellings on each lot. The applicant is also requesting to reduce the minimum lot frontage from 12 meters to 10 meters for both the lots to be severed and retained. The comments that we got back from the agencies are fairly standard conditions. I think the ones that stand out the most are that the City Parks Department has requested an arborist report with a tree inventory as well as a tree hoarding plan for any of the trees on the lot to be retained. And then also County Public Works Department has also requested a 3-meter road widening across Devonshire on both the lots to be retained and severed. In light of our review of the application, staff are satisfied that the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, as it's consistent with the intensification, redevelopment, and housing policies, as well as it's an opportunity for redevelopment, and it's considered to be an efficient use of land and municipal infrastructure. Additionally, we believe that the application is also in keeping with the infill policies of the official plan. We also believe that the application is compatible with the area, as the area has a variety of lot sizes. Dwellings, we talked about it on Monday night, dwellings have a variety of setbacks as well, and there are already a number of infill lots that have already taken place on in the Devonshire area. In light of that, we feel that the application is in keeping with the official plan. And then with respect to the minor variance, we feel that it's minor and desirable for the area, as the lots are, although they are narrower than perhaps some of the lots in the area, based on the fact that they are so deep, we feel that they have sufficient area to accommodate the dwellings and the required setbacks. And they can also accommodate parking for the required parking that's required for both developments. In light of that, we'd recommend that the application be given favorable consideration.
Thank you. Questions of council. Councillor Talbot.
Answer to Andrea. It's not really a question, but we discussed this on Monday night at the planning meeting. If looking at the frontages of all except for the one property on the north side of Devonshire, they're all in pretty much in keeping with frontages allowances and stuff. And wondering why the suggestion wouldn't have made to have been a front to back severance as opposed to the way it is, because those houses are going to be set so far back on that property, there really is no rear yard, it's going to be all front yard. Whereas if it was divided in half and had a laneway going down the side, it would have at least kept the street frontage the same as the rest of the street. I don't know if you have any comment. I know we talked about it on Monday night, but
This is through the.
maybe more area, like, I mean, those are very narrow lots, and very little yard at the back.
Through the mayor to Councillor Talbot, the applicant, so I explained on Monday night that the applicant provided us with this proposal with the side-by-side lots as opposed to the flag-shaped lot or the rear yard infill lot which is what we generally refer to it. In this case, the applicant has provided parking, and then the minimum required setback for the rear yard depth is 7.5 meters, and the applicant has provided that. And so we generally, if that's the proposal that we're given and it meets the requirements of the bylaw, we would be supportive of it.
Councillor Talbot.
Just in further, Andrea, too, it was going to the city arborist about the trees on the property. Has there been any report back for that? Have they identified any trees on their property that will be in conflict with this development?
So through the mayor to Councillor Talbot's question, with respect to the arborist report, the applicant has to provide it as a condition of the approval. And so the arborist report would be to the satisfaction of the Parks Department. So in the event that any trees were to be removed, that are on the city's list of trees to be preserved, they would have to provide compensation of 3-to-1, or the Parks Department could also say that they have to maintain them.
Continuing, I mean, I've heard that some have already come down. I just wondered if we'd have the opportunity to even know what's there.
That I'm not sure of what they've inventoried.
Councillor Schadenberg.
Yeah, through the mayor to the city planner. I guess my question is the County of Oxford has requested a 3-meter road widening. That's a road widening for road widening allowance. There's not actually going to physically be a road widening. It might sound like an odd question, but.
So through the mayor to Councillor Schadenberg, and the engineer can step in at any time if he doesn't agree with me. But basically what they do is when they have severances, the county will take, and the city does it too on the city streets, if they think that that's a road that could potentially be widened in the future, then they would take that widening there. So as you can see, it's already been taken along here in the past, and so they just keep taking along the frontages, so that, yeah, in the event that in the future they'd like to widen Devonshire, they could do that.
No additional construction projects this year. Further questions of council? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. And our next item is the application for zone change at 655 Brant Street. Councillor Tate.
I move that Woodstock City Council approve the application for lands described as Part Lot 4, Plan 350 in the City of Woodstock to rezone the subject lands from Residential Zone 1 to Residential Zone 2 to facilitate the conversion of an existing single detached dwelling to a converted dwelling containing 2 residential units, and further that any comments received from the public were reviewed and considered before the decision was made in relation to this planning matter.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Fraser. Ms. Hassler.
Okay, so this application is application for zone change. It was submitted by Christine Woodruff and Sarah Gage for lands located at 655 Brant Street. And the application seeks to rezone the subject lands from R1 to R2 to facilitate the conversion of an existing single detached dwelling to a converted dwelling containing 2 residential units. No exterior renovations are being proposed at this time, and the applicant is proposing to construct the second unit in the basement of the existing dwelling. The subject property comprises approximately 547 square meters and is currently occupied by an existing single detached dwelling and a carport. And the surrounding uses include a variety of low and medium density residential uses, including single detached, semi-detached, and townhouse units, as well as apartment dwelling units, and then with Northdale Public School to the west. The application was circulated to a number of agencies. The comments that were most noteworthy, and I believe this has come up in the past with council, is with respect to this second unit, the building code does require a minimum floor area for these units, and the minimum is 45 square meters, and the building department feels that that could be supported within this existing dwelling. In light of our review, the planning department is supportive of the application. We feel that's in keeping with the provincial policy statement as it promotes intensification and provides a mix of housing types. and its efficient use of land and municipal services and infrastructure. The proposed converted dwelling is permitted in a low-density residential area, and it is within close proximity to a public transit stop, as well as it's in keeping with the surrounding area, as there's a mix of uses in the area. And because they're not doing any external renovations, we feel that it's not impacting the overall visual character of the property or the neighborhood. And with respect to parking, the applicant is able to provide adequate parking on the site. There are 2 spaces in the carport, which would be considered legal spaces, and then if for overflow, there are additional parking spaces in the driveway. We just wouldn't be able to consider them legal spaces. In light of our review, we would recommend that the application be given favorable consideration.
Thank you. Questions of council? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is our statement of revenue and expenditures and capital expenditures for the period ending May 31st. Councillor Tate.
I'll move to receive as information.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Schadenberg. Discussion? You've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Our next item on the agenda is the Woodstock Museum Strategic Plan for 2019 through 2023. Councillor Fraser.
That Woodstock City Council approves the Woodstock Museum NHS new strategic plan for 2019 to 2023.
Thank you. And a seconder? We'll go Councillor Schadenberg. Discussion? We have our Councillor Schadenberg.
Yeah, I guess maybe with Karen in the building, we'd like to ask her maybe a couple of questions. First of all, just a comment. I remember that the museum, amongst other museums in Oxford County, did the Oxford Remembers Tour, basically 2014 up to 2018 in the 100 years, recognizing the end of the First World War. That tour through Tillsonburg, Ingersoll, Beachville, Princeton, Norwich, on and on and on. That was a big sort of a cooperative effort between that and many other. Any kind of plans for something large scale like that in the future again to attract throughout the museums of all of Oxford County, Karen?
Your Worship, through to the question. First off, I would like to brag that we did actually win the Ontario Historical Society's Public History Award actually for that program. So because of that and the fact that we've all, got together and recognized that that happened, we are in discussions about having something similar happen again. On what subject and what anniversary we will see, but yeah, we are continuing to do those kinds of projects. Yes.
Thank you. Further questions of council? Councillor Schadenberg.
I guess this one truly is just a comment. If anyone has not seen the new permanent display on the 2nd floor of the museum, they really should take time out and bring their kids up to go see it. It really is spectacular, and it's a nice addition or renovation or improvement. I'll use the word improvement from what was there before, because the previous exhibit had been there for a number of years, and what's up on the 2nd floor now of the museum is quite spectacular.
Your Worship, through to the comment, and that is actually something that is highlighted in this, is that reuse of space and figuring out new and different ways to actually utilize the programming space and also office space in the building, and it's working very well. So thank you.
Thank you. And to our Manager of Culture and Museum Curator, Karen Houston, extend to your staff our gratitude for all of the great programming and what you're working to for the future when you look at the past. You've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda, we have, let's see, it is the laneway closure for east of Mackenzie Avenue. Councillor Schadenberg.
That City Council authorized the mayor and clerk to sign an agreement of purchase and sale for a portion of an unused laneway to Strongman Properties, Inc. Is that the wrong one? Okay. That council approve, stop, up, and close an unused laneway to the north of properties located at 881, 883, 885, 891, 893, 895, and 897 Dundas Street, and that the necessary bylaw be read and that the properties be declared surplus.
Thank you. And a seconder, Counselor Tate. Discussion? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. And our next one is the proposed laneway sale. Counselor Fraser?
That Woodstock City Council authorize the mayor and clerk to sign an agreement to purchase and sale for a portion of the unused laneway to Strongman Properties, Inc., and that the necessary bylaw be read.
The seconder, Counselor Talbot? You've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Our next item on the agenda is the Conservation Demand Management Plan. Counselor Tate?
I'll move that Woodstock City Council approve the 2020 to 2024 Conservation Demand Management Plan.
Thank you. And the seconder, Counselor Accioni. Discussion? I think for the viewers at home, one thing that's very interesting to see is much like homeowners, when you leave the room, turn out the lights, we see a lot of the great work that the city has done on these facilities where we see anywhere from 10 to almost 25% savings in the operating costs of those buildings just by planning things right. Councillor Schadenberg?
I guess one question would be the Cowan Sportsplex and changing the lighting system in there, sort of a different phase. Maybe Brian Connors can answer that question as to what sort of is the timetable and the smartness of just doing that project in itself with the walking track up above the indoor soccer facility.
Your worship, through to the councillor's question, we have issued the RFP and had a successful bidder. Right now, we're at the stage where we're looking at the light design to make sure that the field is lit up properly, but also with LEDs that will save a great deal of funds. We're also looking at, well, not looking at, we're going to be putting in a multiple switch system, so we can just light up one field at a time, 2 or 3, as well as the walking track. So lights will only be going on in that facility when people are using them, not the entire facility. So this will save quite a large sum of money.
Thank you. Further questions? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. And the next item on the agenda is the renaming of the pavilion at Southside Park. Councillor Accioni?
Moved by myself, the Woodstock City Council approve the renaming of the indoor pavilion in Southside Park to the Commander David Stock Pavilion.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Tate. Discussion? Councillor Tate?
Yeah, I just want to comment. I knew David Stock for a very, very long time. He's very proud of his work in the community and his former life, and I think this is a very fitting honor for him, and his family would be very touched by this.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. And our next item on the agenda is the Southwest Oxford Boundary Adjustment Committee report. Councillor Accioni?
Yes, moved by myself that we defer this motion.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Talbot. Discussion? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Our next item on the agenda, we have no new business or notice of motions, so the bylaws. Councillor Talbot.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Schadenberg, the following bylaws be given first and second reading. 931119, a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 862610 as amended, then in 81913, which is 655 Brant Street. 931219, a bylaw to provide for the closure of parts of highways and streets in the city of Woodstock, so laneway closure east of Mackenzie Avenue. And 931319, a bylaw to provide for the sale of certain lands owned by the corporation of the city of Woodstock to Strongman Properties, Inc.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carries. Councillor Talbot.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Schadenberg, the following bylaws be given third and final reading. 931119, conclusive to 931319.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. And tonight for addresses, we'll start with Councillor Accioni.
Thank you, Your Worship. Let me start off by saying a big thank you to the Oxford County Federation of Agriculture. Went on a really interesting tour this morning and just learned a lot. It was actually quite incredible, some of the advances in one of the dairy farms we went to, to be so much more efficient, and the happiness of the cows is such a predominant thing now in farming that they really see it in returns on the milk and everything. It was very educational, and really encourage people to go out and learn as much as they can. What's on Woodstock Magazine? I want to remind everybody, lots of great information in here for June and July. A couple of ones I wanted to highlight, of course, coming up is Canada Day, July 1st, starting at 2 p.m. here at Southside Park. The Woodstock Big Amazing Race by the museums, at Museum Square, on July 20th is quite exciting, so get your teams together. Art in the Park is going to be coming up on July 20th with lots of more stuff in August. So please keep your copy of what's on Woodstock, and have fun, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Talbot.
Thank you. Councillor Accioni already made reference to Canada Day coming up. There's lots of celebrations in the park. It looks like we've got some great entertainment coming, 100 or 1,500 red and white Canada Day cupcakes, which are always delicious, and of course the fireworks, which are sponsored by City of Woodstock and Toyota Manufacturing Canada. So it's always the highlight of it. But with July coming and the end of June, kids are out of school, so make sure that you're watching for them, because they're everywhere, and there's a lot of road construction going on as well too. So people are looking at that, as well as maybe not looking for other things that they should be. Have had a lot of comments about our new crosswalk, how colorful it is, and how we need more. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fraser.
Most things have been touched upon, but one thing's been forgotten that's going to happen this weekend. It's Wiener Fest at Piddock Conservation Area. So this is quite a big event. It sounds like there's a lot of people coming, draw people to the community, and I think this is the first time we've hosted a Wiener Fest here. And if you're interested in it, they have quite a web page that you can just Google Wiener Fest, and it'll come up, and it shows all their activities, and looks like a full day. So other than that, summer's coming, and as Councillor Talbot said, the kids will soon be out and roaming all over the place and excited and not paying attention, so everyone be aware for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Schattenberg.
I want to mention a couple of events that I attended just currently this week, actually. On Tuesday, June 18th, a couple of days ago, there was a workshop about the renewed downtown Woodstock plan, which the website for that is letstalkwoodstock.ca. And what's interesting is there's an online survey ongoing if you happen to miss the workshop a couple of days ago. So the survey is a lot of those check the boxes and stuff like that, but there's certainly a lot of space for you to actually write down a full answer to a question about what you'd like to see for the long-term future of the downtown. I'm not just talking about shopping, Museum Square, and services and businesses and restaurants, and even signage on buildings. What would you like to see the overall theme for downtown Woodstock? But I think part of the plan would be also to just take a look at the geographically of what's determined to be the Woodstock BIA area or the entrepreneurial district, and sort of say, well, the way it's defined now by the official plan, is that correct, or should there be even some modifications to that? So there's a lot of ideas that were presented at the workshop, but you can certainly supply more on the website. The other thing I attended last night was the Small Business Center, kind of a rebranding. It's just now the Small Business Center, not the Woodstock area. Ramona Gallagher and Sean McNamara have done a great job at their office on Dundas Street, 453 Dundas Street. Their website is thesmallbusinesscenter.ca. Make sure you spell center right, R-E, but it's thesmallbusinesscenter.ca. They're at 453 Dundas. They kind of had their rebranding opening yesterday. And they do a lot to help out small businesses that are just getting started, obviously not just in Woodstock, but throughout Oxford County. And they see the rebranding and the fact that they get some funding from the province of Ontario, not just the City of Woodstock and the Economic Development Office. Maybe Len can talk a little bit more about the specific focus of what the Small Business Center does. But they're actually finding that they're getting a lot of response now from outside of Woodstock, just the outskirts towards Brantford and Paris and whatnot, because they know they're getting their answers questioned and about starting up a new business in Woodstock or Oxford County in general.
Thank you. Councillor Tate.
I'm just going to mention the garbage issue again at the county. It was brought back, much to the dismay of myself and the mover, who had made a motion that it not come back, and it came back again. So just for everyone to be aware that I'm sure there's going to be some more sneaky moves coming up. Your 3 representatives from Woodstock did not support it, as we shouldn't, and just keep watching the news. Thanks.
Well, I think going last, basically everything has been covered. I'll remind everyone again that throughout the summer, we'll have one meeting in July, one meeting in August, and stay up to date with what's going on in the community. We have lots of information on Woodstock Facebook page, the city website, and of course, you can always check out the community calendars like Heart FM and see all the great events that are going on. If grandparents hear from their grandchildren that they're bored and there's nothing to do this summer, then they really haven't looked in the community, because there are so many programs going on for young people and those that are young at heart as well. So with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Fraser, seconded by Councillor Schattenberg. We are adjourned.